A toilet construction project in Campbell in the Northern Cape raised quite the stink among social media users who questioned the scope and the cost of the build. Northern Cape Premier Dr. Zamani Saul was criticised on X following his tweet about building 540 flushing toilets to eradicate the bucket system at a cost of 120 million rand. Community members are reportedly divided in their reaction, with some saying that they are relieved at the prospect of getting proper sanitation and improved water systems as well. There was apparently a previous toilet project that was abandoned without explanation. But tonight we'll talk to Premier Saul to get the full view. Good evening, Premier, and welcome to the program. Thank you very much for your time. Let's start maybe with that key question, the breakdown of what the 120 million will be spent on.
No, good evening, and thanks very much for having me here. And I really don't understand what the whole noise is all about, because many people who are raising issues around these projects, people who've never been at Campbell. And I just need to mention that Campbell is a rural town. When we speak about putting up and eradicating buckets and coming up with a full waterborne system, that involves a whole lot of activities. And those activities is putting up a bulk infrastructure first, and bulk water infrastructure and bulk sewer network. The entire cost of the project, 80% of the cost of the project, goes into bulk infrastructure. If I can quickly take you through, we've got the wastewater treatment works there, which is 34 million rand. We've got drilling and putting up additional boreholes, which is 41 million rand, and internal water network, which is 29 million rand. The issue of reticulation and building of toilets only accounts for 47 million rand of the total cost of the project, which is 152 million rand. So 80% of the total cost of the project goes into putting up bulk infrastructure. You can't build full waterborne toilets without putting a bulk sewer network with oxidation ponds, and as well as increasing the bulk water capacity in the area. So the people who are raising some of these issues, they've never been to Campbell, they don't even know on the geography where Campbell is. But I want to inform your viewers that this is an area where there is no bulk infrastructure. First, we'll have to put up bulk infrastructure before we can do reticulation and put up and build the toilets in those different households.
Premier, this is exactly the kind of breakdown I think people were asking for. Had it been provided, maybe a lot of this speculation and these calculations on the price of a single toilet could have been eradicated. Thank you for sharing that.
But all this speculation really borders on the worst kind of stupidity. How do you make such speculation without even knowing the geography of the area, what infrastructure is available? And most of the people who raised those concerns are people who are having flushing toilets in their households. And they've never once asked, how much did it cost for this municipality to put bulk infrastructure in? But because it's rural masses, we always have this configuration in our minds that rural masses must be given substandard services. We are giving them full flush toilets, we are putting up the bulk infrastructure, and we are not apologetic for that.
So, Premier, let's then go. So you've broken down what it takes, the bulk infrastructure that needs to be there. You've given us the price tag around the wastewater treatment network. Essentially, nothing exists to support this right now, and that's where all that money is going to go, to create something that will support a project of this nature. So talk to us about the scale of the feasibility studies to ensure that A, the project is delivered as promised, and B, it takes care of its environmental responsibilities.
Yeah, the first phase for the implementation of the project starts in January. The contractor has been appointed. He will be on site in January to start with the first phase. And the second phase, which is the drilling and putting up additional boreholes, will start around April. By the end of the year, we would have finished with the internal water network, so that we can be able to start with the reticulation process and building of toilets in the different households.
So a flushing toilet to sit on, this community can expect to be delivered within a year?
It's a project that can run. It's got 4 phases, and obviously this project will run the whole of next year into 2025. But we hope that by 2025, the project should be completed, because we are embarking on a program in the Northern Cape to eradicate buckets. Just to give you the context, in this province, in terms of census 2022, we've got 333,000 households. It's only 73% of those households that have got access to full waterborne sanitation, which that 73% is 2% higher than the national average. So what we are chasing is to ensure that every household on a formal site, they must have full waterborne sanitation. That is what we are pushing for. And taking into cognizance the landscape of the province, we are the biggest province by landmass in the country. It's not as easy as you would do this thing in urban areas like Gauteng and in some urban provinces in the Western Cape.
Right.
Because we are the biggest province in terms of landmass, and implementing infrastructure projects always comes with an extra cost, and also taking into cognizance the geographic landscape of the Northern Cape.
Premier, is this the turnkey cost of the entire project, this 120 million rand?
Sorry?
Is this the turnkey cost of the project? In other words, the 120 includes everything up until the delivery of, a toilet that someone can sit on?
No, it might be even more than that, because as I have already mentioned, it's not easy in the Northern Cape to put up service infrastructure. It always comes at an extra cost. Next year, on the 18th of January, the president will be here in the Northern Cape. We'll be launching for the first time the biggest ever housing project, the 1 billion rand housing project for the Northern Cape. But to build a house in Nuniput in the Northern Cape, it's almost double the cost of building a house in Bloemfontein or building a house here in Kimberley. Because in order for you just to reach Nuniput, you'll have to travel about 800 to 900 kilometers. So that is one of the challenges that we are sitting with. So whenever we speak of construction of social infrastructure, it comes at an extra cost in the Northern Cape, taking into cognizance the vastness and the rural nature of our province.
Premier, and one can appreciate, I'm so sorry.
Sit back. With all those challenges, we can't sit back. We should push ahead and ensure that people of the Northern Cape get access to the best possible service infrastructure.
And as you've shared, Premier, again, creating a system from A to Z that can deliver all the things that you want to deliver is a major feat, and it will cost probably more, as you're explaining, in your particular geography than somewhere else in the country. But this 120 million rand, what is it going to buy then? If that is what we understand was advertised, I know you've broken down some of the costs for us.
Yeah.
This is where the concern comes in. Where is the project overrun going to be? How much is it likely to cost in the end?
No, there won't be. We are not foreseeing any project overrun now. The project is basically broken down into 4 phases. First phase, you need a wastewater treatment plant, which is going to cost 34 million rand. I'm sure you are from Gauteng in Joburg. There's wastewater treatment plants there. There's no wastewater treatment plant in Kimberley.
That point is appreciated, Premier.
So how do you even start talking about a waterborne sanitation system and there's no wastewater treatment plant?
Premier,
so we have to build the wastewater treatment plant, which is the first phase, and which is 34 million rand. The second phase is drilling, equipping and developing the capacity of the existing boreholes and putting up new boreholes, which is 41 million rand. The third phase is internal water networks, which is about 29 million rand. Just 80% of the entire project cost just go into putting up bulk infrastructure.
Understood. Premier, understood that point.
Yes.
You broke down those costs for us in the beginning.
Yes.
I'm sure you can appreciate the question that I'm asking is ultimately, if, as you're saying, the 120 may not be the capped amount until somebody can actually sit on one of those 540 toilet seats and flush their toilet, and the system can support that activity. If that is not what the price tag is going to end up being, surely you would have had your engineers and your feasibility studies done that would say ultimately it's going to cost X amount. So when you say it might not be capped at 120, what are you foreseeing as the final price tag to be of this particular project?
As District Administration, we've established a reputation of completing project on time and completing project at cost. So if there's delays in the completion of project, it always comes with cost overruns. So what we want to see here is that this project must be completed on time and it must be completed at cost. And that is basically what we are working at.
So it's going to be 120 million rand then for 540
Exactly,
toilets.
that's what we are working at, yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much for talking to us tonight. We appreciate your time. And that is
Thank
the
you.
Premier of the Northern Cape, Premier Zamani Saul.